You're listening to the Nordic Sound channel, promoting Nordic music history and culture wherever podcasts can be found. Remember, we are all brothers. All people, beasts, tree and stone and wind, we all descend from the one great being that was always there, before people lived and named it, before the first seed sprouted. There's just so much to say about Heilung, so much stuffed into the package that is the Heilung experience, that I've honestly been a little intimidated at the thought of reviewing their third studio album, Drif. So let's just get right into what they're about, who they are, and why you absolutely need their latest album in your lives. Because they truly are a special, unique musical and spiritual experience if you subscribe to such things. And I'd rather let the music do most of the talking. I'm just here to point you in its direction. After all, how do you even begin to review a band who gives such a powerful spiritual performance that by its end, you can hear a pin drop in a crowd of 5,000 metalheads? Heilung was started in 2014 by German tattoo artist Kai-Uwe Faust, who is now the vocalist, and Danish music producer Christopher Yule. The music itself began by these two trading poem recordings for tattoos, and the rest is, well, as Heilung would say, amplified history. To show how much time, perseverance, and work these musical projects take, Heilung's first public performance wouldn't be until the viral Castlefest concert, which took YouTube by storm in 2017. For all of you young aspiring musicians, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Heilung. 3 years, as a matter of fact. Just in case you are unfamiliar with just how much of a wave this YouTube video titled Lifa caused, one day in 2017 I was minding my own business, when all of a sudden I started getting texts from friends across all walks of life from different periods in my own life. Elementary school, middle school, summer camps, high school, college, work. Even people who would never usually touch anything even similar to Heilung musically were texting me asking if I'd seen the quote, new Antler band. Classical purists, die-hard metalheads, bebop virtuosos, crunchy bluegrass hippies, blue-collar workers who stick to the top 40 radio, you name it, they were enraptured by the YouTube video of this Antler band, which has now garnered over 30 million views. It was incredible to me to see how their music spoke to people, even if it was just through a YouTube video, regardless of what genre of music they ascribe themselves to. And this is perhaps one of the reasons why Heilung themselves have chosen to classify themselves as, quote, amplified history, rather than a genre. Considering their instrumentation consists of tonal singing, throat singing, hide drums, bone rattles, ritual bells, and other miscellaneous Indo-European historical instruments, you'd be hard-pressed to find an argument against that description. To add to this, from their Bandcamp, quote, evading all conventional genre tags and the confines of any specific labels, the group aptly self-describes their sound as amplified history, emphasizing their ability to connect modern society with the rudiments of humanity's beginnings through music. Heilung once again journeys back in time with its new chapter. Drif, however, unlike previous offerings that centered around medieval Northern Europe, album number 3 will explore all great ancient civilizations. Now, Drif, of course, is their third studio album, which was released publicly for the first time at Midgardsblot 2022, which you have heard me go on and on about enough by now, but if you haven't, head on over to my YouTube channel for some vlogs I did if you're interested. Unfortunately, because of who I am as a person, I didn't realize you had to get a separate ticket for that release event, so I couldn't go. But you bet I was front and center at their live performance on Saturday night, and was of course humbled to meet and get to know some of the members. Hopefully some of which will be on the podcast to talk about what it's like being in Heilung in the near future. Now, contrary to popular belief, Heilung does not dabble in just Nordic music and culture. Their lyrics are drawn from poems across Indo-European language traditions, just like their music and instrumentation. However, with Nordic music, at least in my experience, having a more well-defined culture and fanbase, they are usually included in Nordic music festivals such as Midgardsblot and headline alongside Vardruna. And this is especially important to keep in mind with Drif for those of you who are expecting a purely Nordic experience. Of Drif from Heilung's Bandcamp, they tell us, all the songs on Drif have their own stories. Each has its place and sense of belonging, with inspiration not only from Northern Europe, but from the ancient great civilizations. We took the ancient surrounding advanced civilizations in account because our ancestral Nordic civilizations did not just pop up, exist, and disappear in isolation. Already in the Bronze Age, we found silk on German land that was imported already from the far, far east 3,000 years ago. From the Viking Age, we found beads that were brought from the present-day Syria high up in the northern mountains. With singing these primordial songs, we want to give tribute to these cultures, reconnect to the beginnings, and remember that we all, from east to west, from past to present, are connected through the exchange of ideas and inspiring each other. They go on to say, according to Greek philosopher Pythagoras, 3 is a divine number, signifying harmony, wisdom, and understanding. He also believed it to be the number of time, past, present, and future, birth, life, death, beginning, middle, end. Purposefully or not, Drif embodies this philosophy, putting forth a divine work of art that ties together the beginning of civilization with the modern world today. Make no mistake, Heilung still does not represent any modern political or religious ideology, but rather delivers a humbling reminder of where we came from. Quoting the chant they open their concerts with once more, remember, we are all brothers. All people, beasts, tree and stone and wind, we all descend from the one great being that was always there, before people lived and named it, before the first seed sprouted. Now, it's really hard to pick one track from this album to give you all a snippet of, but if I had to choose one to convince you of just how deep and intricate their music goes, not that intricacy is a prerequisite for good music, mind you, it would have to be the track Tenet. As a musician and composer myself, the composition of this piece absolutely blows my mind. Of the single, they write, "Our third single release is a palindrome. All individual musical parts, melodies, and instruments, and even at times the lyrics, play the same both forward and backwards. The song is based on the Sator square, the earliest datable two-dimensional palindrome, first found in Herculaneum, that is Italy, a city buried under the ashes of the erupting Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, at that time part of the flourishing Roman Empire. What is particularly interesting with this palindrome is that not only does it read forwards and backwards, but also vertically in both directions. Side note, I'm adding this to the episode art if you'd like to look at it for yourself. It's very trippy. The palindrome goes Sator, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, Rotas. And again, backwards from right to left, Sator, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, Rotas. But then if you put it in the vertical rectangle, up, down, it still reads Sator, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, Rotas, and so on and so forth. They go on to say, the unusual melody of this piece is created with a special code system employing numbers, runes, and Latin letters taken from the square itself, and deciphered in a complicated system to give birth to Heilung's first melodic palindrome. So, yeah. For those eccentric composer types listening, I know plenty of you, this piece is for you. If you were unfamiliar with Heilung before this episode, or on the fence, I implore you, I beg you, to carve out 15 minutes of your day, put on a nice pair of headphones or a good pair of speakers, and put on this track front to back. It will show you why Heilung, that is, healing, is such a powerful experience that leaves its mark on so many people from all walks of life. And so friends, that wraps up this episode of the Nordic Sound channel. Go forth and join the Heilung tribe. If you enjoy having the music snippets in these episodes, consider joining the Patreon I'll be opening up next week, as YouTube automatically demonetizes any video that has copywritten music in it. By supporting me via Patreon, you help me circumvent the system, down with the man, and continue to put out the content that you guys seem to enjoy. Don't worry though. Even if you don't toss the $3 a month to the Patreon, I'm never going back to the dark days without music snippets. Never again. Now, you can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, or even friend me on Facebook, and keep watch for upcoming interviews. I've got quite a few scheduled across genres and can't wait to share these incredible musicians' experiences with you all. So, once again, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you on the next episode of the American Scald's Nordic Sound channel.